Are we on?
And you're on.
It says it's live, so hello out there, everybody.
Hey. See, we got Glitter Fart is here, first guy in line. It's good to see. And Jack, of course, our Westerville, Ohio invitee. So how's everybody doing this week? That's for all of us and all of you. I spent the week making watch bands. Actually, that's not true. Today, I actually got to do some CNC work to finish off some projects I've been working on for a while.
Right on.
I have another one to make. A guy that lives not too far from me. I think I mentioned him. He makes these. It's like a charcuterie board, but he makes a whale, and they tend to be fairly big because it's like a. Well, I mean, whales are big, right? So he came today and he dropped off a piece of Purple Heart live edge that must have been 3 feet long and 2 feet wide, one slab. And it was like, holy cow. He said, "Can you cut a whale into this?" I said, "Sure, let me get my insurance updated."
Right. There are consequences.
Yeah. He brought 2 of them, a slab of chestnut that was even bigger.
Now, chestnut is something you just don't see around here at all.
Yeah, it's not too common here either, but it's not as good for the kinds of things I do because it tends to be softer. Like it's a little softer than, especially when it's old, it gets kind of punky in the middle and it gets soft. But he wants to make another whale out of that, so I don't care. I make money just cutting whales. I don't have to be involved in the transaction with the customer, which is a good thing. Plasma cutter. Yeah, I'd love to have a plasma cutter.
I was going to do some shop upgrades now that I'm out of the market business for the summer.
Yeah.
Do some stuff to improve the tools. I've still yet to get around to making a mallet and do some fence upgrades to my table saw. Just things to improve the working conditions.
Yeah, I spent some time this week making the goat of all spoil boards for my CNC this week. So it's a good project. Sorry, Roger.
What you got working back there, Roger?
What's that?
What you got working back there?
Oh, we got 3D printed part orders this up the wazoo here. I tried not to run the ones in here during the live stream, but I have to get these caught up. I've got the ones in the other room up here all running. I don't have my bamboo running because that's across from me. That thing's loud, although it's nice and fast.
Well, what else is what's everybody else doing online here? Yeah, an EDM machine would be okay. Hey, here's a question for people. I installed Lightburn 1.6 today on one of my computers, and I cut a square, and it turned out to be a triangle for some reason, and I don't know why. It was with the Xtool S1. And I thought, must be something wrong. I rebooted everything and tried it again. Nope, it only cuts triangles on Lightburn 1.6. So I don't know. It's bizarre. It did make the cut test look really impressive, though. A whole bunch of triangles. I don't know if anybody else has seen that, but I've heard other people complaining about some 1.6 issues too, but. I don't know.
I've been lazy and haven't done the update, so I never do the updates right away. I kind of wait a while so that if there's any bugs, I get it figured out.
Yeah, well, I thought I did wait a while. 1.6 has been out for a couple of weeks at least. and I ended up going back to 1.5.0.6. I think is the last 1.5 release.
Well, this question here about how to size a grid, or you mean the grid you see on the Lightburn screen, or the actual layout grid you have for your laser? You can resize your letters real easy in Lightburn.
Yeah, just pick a different font size, or you can just grab the corner of it and scale it. Doesn't fit inside the grid. That's got to be the on-screen grid. Let's see if Johnny responds. Yeah, the software. Oops. Oh, later part. Anything I was cutting that was supposed to be rectangular turned into a triangle for some reason, which was really annoying because the first time I discovered it, I had done a whole bunch of engraving and then wanted to cut it out, and it ran a line right across the corners and chopped my engraving in two.
Let's see, we got
There's lots of Lightburn. Yeah, see, I've talked to a few people that have had Lightburn 1.6 issues. Yeah, I went back to 150.6 too.
Now, are there any software issues in installing multiple versions, or
depends on the machine? On a Mac, you can have every version of Lightburn and use whichever one you want, but I don't know on Windows. I think in Windows it'll install Lightburn, and if you reinstall, I'm not sure it'll keep the old one there.
Well, it might if you put it on a different drive, if you have multiple drives.
I was thinking virtual machines, but
or virtual.
The only virtual machine I have a Windows instance that runs on my NAS that I use to control my CNC to do build toolpaths. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of waiting to see if there's a bug reported in Lightburn 1.6.
Isn't the way most of those apps work is that they configure some kind of like a build file, and then they push the file to the machine, and the machine does it all basically once it receives the file?
I don't know. I guess.
Well,
I mean, it just like Lightburn just builds G code, right? And then it's smart enough to upload the G code to the laser and say go. That's about all Lightburn does at its essence.
Right. So it's not like the computer is controlling the machine. It just sends the data to the machine, and the machine runs from that.
Yeah, it just sends the G code and steps out of the way, right?
Yeah, so VMs would be easy peasy on that, assuming you could set up VMs and have the memory and storage for them and all that.
Huh. You can't grab the corner and just shrink it down? Like there'll be some default font size, which tends to be either really ridiculously small or overly large. And you can then generally either go up to the top toolbar and change the font size once you select it, of course, or you can just grab the anchor and like select it and grab the anchor in the corner and shrink it down. Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. Welcome back. Yeah, they're not even particularly smart printers, really. I mean, G-code's pretty simple from a laser perspective, right? It's basically move and turn on the laser, which is actually the same G-code that a CNC would use to turn on the spindle and set the speed. So it's really simple. Well, let me see what's going on in the news this week. So I have. Does anybody have a Recreate 40 watt yet? I don't know if they're shipping yet.
Oh, I still have the 20.
Yeah, my 20 is basically limping along because I can't upgrade it to anything. So they're sending me a 40 watt. It should be here next week, I think. The F1 Ultra should be here next week too, which I'm pretty excited about. But the big news that's actually news is Acmer is going to release their P3 soon. I think the end of June. And that will be a dual laser IR and I think a 48 watt diode laser. But you can switch down to 24. So it's actually pretty cool. It's still open frame though, which irks me a little, but yeah, it seems to be Acmer just seems to be the sleeper in the laser market. They do cool things, but they don't ever really kind of get too much coverage on them. But I'm kind of eager to see that one too. Yeah, I have the WeCreate 20. I actually like the WeCreate. It's right up there as one of my favorite lasers to just run and gun kind of projects, right? I used it last weekend. I had to do a presentation to a local woodturners guild and say, hey, here's why you want a laser, even if you make round things. And I took that laser in part because I can just throw things down and have it do something. Well, one of the guys just brought a pair of salt and pepper shakers, and he handed them to me and said, can you put an S and a P on these things? It's just like, okay, talk about pressure. But we got it done. And the camera in the WeCreate just helps with that so much. So it's a really nice laser for especially just to go quick.
Well, backing up there to that, Fred asked who's new about it, learning to make gifts. Start out cheap, make signs. Come up with some novel sayings or sarcastic sayings like I like to do. And do it on cedar fence pickets are cheap. So if you make a mistake, you're not out much.
Yeah, the other one that seems to be interesting, although I haven't explored it myself, is buy a sheet of plywood and make earrings, tiny little earrings, because you can make about 1,000 of them out of a sheet of plywood, and you're going to sell them for a few dollars a pair, and you'll pay for your laser pretty quick. Is that you, Conrad, or is that really Rick typing in the chat?
Oh, that'd be Rick.
No, that's really Rick. He's coming in a few minutes. So, yeah, I don't know. I would do anything but coasters, honestly. Coasters are just done to death. Like, find something that you can either make better than everyone else is making it, or in a space where there's not too many people. But depends on your market too. Like if you're going to weekend craft fairs or something, very different product set there than like what I do. For example, I don't ever go to craft fairs. I just do one-off custom stuff, and it pays a lot better, but the jobs are further apart, we'll say, than it would be in a craft fair. Oh, groan. Where did that go?
It's right there.
There it is.
I like that one. That's a dad joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cruising through Amazon right now looking at small lasers that I can get on my budget, which is cheap.
Yeah. I mean, it depends what you're going to do, of course. If you're going to just do engraving, then yeah, 5-watt laser's probably good enough, if not better than a bigger laser, but you eventually have to cut things out. So
Yeah.
I would say stay away from 5-watt if you can. Really stay away from 10-watt too. 20 watts, the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Look at the longer Ray 5. It's
I was.
always on sale, and they're really good lasers for the money.
And they sell a lot of them because I sell a lot of the mounts and risers for them. In fact, that's what's printing behind me right now. Is stuff for longer lasers.
Yeah. And you see, if you get one, Roger will throw in a set of 4 feet for free.
Yeah, there you go. Mail them off to you.
Oh, yeah. And can you upgrade the heads on them so you get like a 10-watt, and then later on you want to upgrade it?
Yeah, you can.
You can. So when I got originally, I got a longer Ray 5 10-watt, and they sent me a 20-watt module, which I upgraded to, and then they sent me, I don't know if it was a 30 or a 40, and upgraded that. Always the same laser, same frame, which is kind of ridiculous because that is like the cheapest part of the laser is all the frame. It's the module. The laser module is where 99% of the expense is.
Yeah, I've got a whole playlist on my channel of beginner projects, and most of them you can download the files for free from our website and play with them all you want.
Yep. Black acrylic is good for diode lasers. But yeah, you can, I mean, if you just want to pay off a laser, make earrings and sell them at craft fairs because people will buy them like crazy because they're cheap, right? People go, oh, it's $5. I'll buy a pair, and you know, it's probably got like 50 cents worth of material in it, including the earring mount itself, and you'll pay for your laser really quick with earrings. Oh no, not leather. Leather smells too bad.
Leather is a good and a bad thing to do on a laser. I do a lot of leather key tags, but by golly, make sure that is vented because it stinks.
Yeah, if you want to work with leather on your laser, set up a table outside, put your laser out there, and then you don't have to worry about venting, and it won't make your shop smell like dead meat.
Yeah, and stand up wind.
Yeah. That now on the plus side, because it smells bad, not many people work with leather on lasers, so you have an opportunity if you're strong of nose and or willing to put up with it.
Or insensate.
Where'd you go? Oh, Krypton. Oh, Krypton. Kite. Oh, it's not this. This is a typo, but yeah, Can you actually buy graphene like just as Joe average person? I thought it was still like a research project. I wanted to answer this project or question. No. If you want a laser, buy a laser.
Yeah, if you want a CNC, buy a CNC. It's the same thing with 3D printer. You want a 3D printer, buy a 3D printer. If you want a laser, buy a laser. Don't try to put the laser head on the printer. It just doesn't work very well.
Yeah. Now, having said this, I'm tempted to put a laser on my CNC just because my controller supports it, just to see if I can do it. I would never actually use it on there, I don't think. The reason being, if you have one tool that's doing everything, that means that when that machine is busy, you can't do anything else. And I mean, if you look at Roger's background there's like three or four 3D printers that are all doing different things, right? I tend to run my CNC and at least 2 lasers most of the time, doing all different things, most times for different customers. There you go. Leather smells like burning cow. I'm going to put that on a sign.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe you could try putting some barbecue seasoning on the leather, so when it's cutting, it doesn't smell quite so bad.
There is nothing you can do to the leather to make it smell good.
Molasses and brown sugar.
Yeah, I've really come to appreciate this X-Tool P2. It's I was kind of on the fence because it's supposedly is supported in Lightburn, but my experience is it doesn't work very well in Lightburn. But I actually like it with XCS. It's a really, really nice laser. Now, keep in mind it's not cheap, right? It's not the $500 diode laser. No, I didn't mean it was a restricted material. I just thought it wasn't really available yet.
I think their biggest problem with graphene in general is just being able to produce it in mass that they can, where it's cost effective.
I just assumed it would be like $1,000 a pound or something, right? Just some ridiculous price, just because it's hard to make. Yeah, Lasermatic's not a bad laser. Yeah, I haven't seen what I'd call a bad review on the Lasermatic. The only concern I would have, it's a pretty small company, and while people say they have good support, I think over the next year or so, small laser companies are going to really struggle, and that includes like Acmer and who else is in that small market? Longer. Like I think they're all going to hurt.
Trying to separate themselves from the crowd and just being one of them.
It's just a race to the bottom, right? Like you can't make a really good laser for $100. It's that simple, right? So, so I think you got a whole bunch of companies at the bottom of the pile competing with each other, right? And they all make great lasers, but they only make like $50 on a laser, right? And you can't stay in business if that's your profit margin.
Well, I had one of those email offers this week from some company and brand I'd never heard of for an open frame laser. They wanted me to, we'll give it to you. You do a review on it, do some projects on it. I'm like, well, what is it? Well, it's 10 watt. Does it have air assist? No. Can you put it on there? Well, not yet. Does it have limit switches? No. I'm not interested.
I think I had that same conversation, probably the same company. Yeah, the only real advantage to putting a laser on a CNC is CNC workspaces tend to be much bigger than typical diode lasers. So like mine, Onefinity makes a 48-inch square table. Mine's a 48 by 32, but you can also get like CNCs that'll take a full 8-foot sheet. And if you had a laser, you could make some pretty impressive projects, but that's not a huge market. It's a lot of money to spend on a CNC in the first place. But that is one advantage. You'd have a laser that could do large jobs. Marketing of metal business cards, I assume. Metal business cards. I use metal business cards, but only because, hey, I'm in the engraving business. My business cards need to be engraved on metal. Metal business cards are the most expensive way you can make a business card. Just keep that in mind. Like you can make 100 paper business cards for $20 at least. Well, at most $20. $20 doesn't buy you a whole lot of metal business cards. And then you have to sell them for profit. Hey, Ohio. high in the middle and round on both ends. Isn't that what they say about Ohio? Yeah, I don't know. I actually had a conversation with, I forget who it was. It might have been X-Tool. And they were actually seriously concerned about profit margin. So, I mean, the labor is definitely cheaper there, but I think they still have to make money. Now, they don't necessarily have to have the same margins as, say, a North American company, but yeah, lots of people have lasers and CNCs. I guess the real question is, did you buy the laser first or the CNC first? Because like diode lasers tend to be like a gateway drug, right? Like you buy them, they're cheap, and you go, "Oh, this is really cool. Now I can, for a little more money, I can buy the next tool up, which is a CO2 laser or a CNC." That is Rick guy just tooting from the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say these days, yeah, minimum 20 watts. Yeah.
Yeah, Etcher's a good brand.
Acer's a good brand, yeah. They have, I really like their rotary actually, but their lasers are fine. I have heard horror stories about Acer's support, but I've heard horror stories about everybody's support, so I don't know if that means anything. Yeah, the F1 Ultra. I'll have a review on this soon. X-Tool sent me a gigantic box of materials this week. Like it must have been like 50 keychains and bookmarks and lots of business cards. I think they really want you to do the thing they do in the video where they just throw the cards down on the conveyor and it just magically engraves them all in the right spot. I think they want reviewers to really try that stuff. But I'm actually really excited for this laser. I think this one is a game changer. My frustration here is people will look at the F1 Ultra and they'll go, oh, like they're mentally tuned to diode lasers, and they'll go, well, that's awfully expensive because it's, I mean, even at discounted $1,000 off, it's still $3,800. But I think people are comparing it to the wrong thing. It's not a diode laser; it's a fiber laser. I mean, it has a diode laser in it, but it's more like an add-on as opposed to the main event. So yeah, I think this is going to be a great laser. What I'm really interested in is it's a 20-watt fiber laser, but when they show their coin engraving, they do deep engraving, and Rick has shown his coins. They show engraving like that, and I'm very suspicious. So the very first thing I asked my X-Tool rep was, hey, can I have the XCS file that generated that coin? We're still working on the software, so we'll see. But it has to be a MOPA laser because they're talking about doing engraving in color with the fiber, which will give it a little more oomph. So I'm retired too, except I work 20 hours a day.
Yeah, that's me too. 7 days a week, actually 8 days a week, 27 hours a day, it seems like.
I haven't heard of actually, that's not true. I have heard of the Shark CNCs. These are pretty high end though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very expensive.
Yeah, keep in mind with CNCs that all CNCs are fundamentally a couple of rails, some sliders of some sort, either rollers or linear rails, and a couple of stepper motors. So I don't necessarily understand, I'll say, why some of them are $3,000 and the next one that does exactly the same job with the same size is a fraction of that price. So buyer beware, I think, is the word of the day there, phrase of the day. I play the lottery too. Doesn't actually. I don't. When the lottery gets over like some ridiculous number of millions, I buy a lottery ticket because I figure if I'm going to use my one lucky shot, I might as well win a lot of money. Yeah, the We Create Vision is definitely a good starter laser. Well, you see, all of these companies that are in Japan, so I guarantee you in the X-Tool building, there's probably at least one other laser company. They're all in these little, it's almost like a kibbutz, right? Where there's just like everybody is all in the same campus, and they're very secretive. So they might be in a high rise, but I don't think they own the whole building. In fact, I would bet they don't.
Seems like all the companies for lasers and 3D printers and that type of thing are all in Shenzhen too.
Yep.
China.
Yeah.
All in the same city.
Yeah, probably in the same business park. Yeah, it's Two Trees. Two Trees is kind of, I don't know. See, this is one of these companies that's really small, and they make, above average stuff, I'd say. They're decent products, but they don't really either don't know how to sell them or what. I'm not sure what. They just don't have a good marketing story.
Well,
So
I will
I
say
think
with Two Trees, you want to stay away from the real low end stuff because
Yes.
it's junk.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the same story with any laser, especially if it's more than 5 watts. Any diode laser that's in the $200 range is going to give you problems. That doesn't mean go and buy a $2,000 X-Tool S1 or something. It just means, be careful. Well, you can ask before you give them your money. This is the easiest way. Most new lasers will have air assist. And
some of them will have the automatic control, but most won't.
Yeah. Now, as far as upgrading the power, laser companies seem to be a little finicky about that. But some of them will do it. I think Acmer will sell you a higher laser module.
No, longer will.
Longer will. I think Aether will. X-Tool won't. At least they haven't so far. That was the question I asked when the S1 came out, is if you buy the 20-watt laser, can you upgrade it to the 40? And their short answer was no. And then I poked at it a bit more, and they said, well, until we fill orders for the 40 watts and we have some spares on the shelf, then the answer is no. But I still haven't seen it available. So I don't know.
Reserve that profit margin.
What's that?
Trying to reserve that profit margin by selling 2 units instead of 1.
Well, I guess, yeah, they want to sell you a new laser. I don't know. Yeah, CO2, man. It's still in the cutting market. It's still the laser to have, but they're a lot more money and a lot more maintenance than a diode laser. Diode lasers are nice because you can plug them in and go. CO2 lasers. I was in the middle of a job this week. I was cutting a sign, and I had one more letter to do, and my laser just shut off. And I went, uh-oh, this isn't good. My CO2 laser. So I had to do some serious repair work. Fortunately, I was the designer, so I knew exactly who to ask. There you go. Buy yourself a coffee. China or Japan?
That would be China.
Yeah,
China's the home.
Yeah, I don't think Japan makes anything other than cars now.
Well, they do some semiconductors there quite a bit.
Yeah, a few. Yeah. Yeah, Shenzhen. It's the rockin' place. Oh no. Cindy cut us. She cut us deep.
Oh, well, we're here to answer questions. There's not really any specific topic.
Yeah. So if you run into a problem or you want to know about something, you just ask. Sometimes we'll do projects. So I did years ago. I showed this a couple of weeks ago. I made this thing, which is a diorama. Let me see if I can get it in there a bit. Oops. It's, wolf howling at the moon. So I was playing with, and this is an upcoming video, so I'm kind of spoiling my own video, but I redid it with this. And this is actually paper. This is matte paper, matte board. And this took, I don't know, probably 15 minutes to make. Like, it was just a nice little project. Somebody asked me whether matte board would work, and I thought, wow, I don't know, but you've inspired me to do something. So I'm putting together a video to show how to make that project. I like playing with different materials. Yeah, you can buy a 40-watt upgrade to the WeCreate. I have the IR sitting on my workbench, but it won't work in my old 20-watt laser. I think I have serial number 11 or 13. And they said, no, you can't have that. It'll never work. So yeah, there we go. I bought the CNC first. That's different, actually. Although laser should have been easy after you've learned how to use CNCs.
Oh, yeah.
Because lasers have tool paths that are generally flat. You don't have to worry about the head going up and down on a laser too much.
Yeah, with the laser, most of the time you don't have to do any hold downs on it. Most of the time.
Oh, I remember this one. Oh yes, yeah. They sent it to the wrong place or something, right? Did you ever get this sorted out? Because, yeah, I don't know. Things get lost in the translation, I think. Uh-oh, glitter fart's starting, trying to start something there. He's trying to start a dust up. Oh yeah, well yeah, you can do white tile on a CO2.
I go, if you're doing the white tile with the titanium coating, you'll get better results with a 10-watt than you will 30-watt diode laser.
Yeah, better resolution on a 10-watt. Yeah. It's, I think 7 layers. Well, if you count the outside frame, it's 7 layers. It's what's nice about matte board is you can do multiple colors. So, whereas wood is wood unless you paint it. So, no, you don't. I don't know if anyone else is using Kittle, but you can just start a new project, which gives you an empty canvas, and you can do whatever you want from there. I was talking to them about Kittle a bit, and one of the comments I made was there's a little too much emphasis on graphic artist type people. And that's why I did when Drew, the guy who runs the Kittle channel, we got together and he did a little interview and we talked a bit about Kittle from a maker's perspective. That video is over on their channel. And I pointed out a couple of things like this, right? Like, just makers don't care about templates. They don't care if they can make a sign for a bar. What they care about is, can I get in and do something that I can then fire out to a laser or a CNC? The other thing I asked him about was dimensional accuracy. So can I make a line that's 10 millimeters long or 37 pixels long? And his first question was kind of like, why would you want to do that? And the answer inevitably is, well, I'm a maker, I'm not an artist. But he did tell me after that they were actually working on that. So I wait with anticipation that they're going to have some dimensional accuracy in the tool soon. Yeah, I'm surprised how many people are getting CNCs first, because that's like the scariest thing. Lasers are generally pretty easy by comparison. I mean, I got a 3D printer first, probably. Race between that and a laser, I guess. But
Yeah, then with the CNC, yeah, there is a little bit of a learning curve there with the different bits and
yeah,
which bits will do what and how fast to run them and see how many of them you can break. And
most of the time when I break a bit, it's because I have the axis, the Z-axis, down close to the surface of the spoil board, and then I decide to move the CNC and snap a bit off on the work that's permanently fixed to the workspace with tape and glue. And yeah, it really bothers me when I snap a carbide bit for doing something stupid, but I never seem to learn. Yeah, 3D printers, lasers, CNCs are the three big ones. Yeah, CNCs, once you understand, you'll hear people talk about speeds and feeds. That's in laser parlance, that's power and speed. And then you have the added dimension of the bit. So how thick is the beam? You don't have that problem on a laser. It's the same thickness all the time.
oh yeah, Creality customer service, they're just a peach to work with. Been there, done that a few times.
Yeah.
You're better off to go on Amazon and buy an aftermarket hot end for a few bucks and you save yourself the grief.
Or keep that laser for spare parts and buy a new one, because by the time you're done fighting with them, you'll have paid for it. I don't understand how Creality got so big and their service is just so, it's not even bad, because it's like they're not even trying, right? It's not like they get back to you and give you the wrong information or run you around. They just don't respond for a long time.
When you do finally get a response, it's like one of their boilerplate ones of, can you send us a video of it not working? I love that one.
Yes. Yeah. They asked me that too on something I was looking at. I think it was a 3D printer. And I said, sure, I can send you a photograph, because that's exactly what it does, whether it's on or off. It'll look exactly the same as this photograph. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they can stay in business. Like, I think this is generally, laser companies suffer from this too, right? They think that once they sell you a laser, that's it. They don't have to ever respond to you until you're ready to buy another laser. And they don't really have amped up service department, like support departments. And I keep nagging them about it, but X-Tool is not bad, but of course you have to pay more for an X-Tool laser. Yes, I do have a conveyor coming as well, which I'm also eager to test. I'm actually most eager to test it with a non-WeCreate laser, because they say that it will work. I'm intrigued. That should also be coming when I get my 40-watt WeCreate Vision. Oh, I would love to have room for just about anything. Anytime I want to do anything in my shop, I have to move a laser off the workbench and make some space. Yeah, well, there you go. The video is really short.
I have done just that. I've shot a little 10-second video of it just sitting there. Oh, here it is.
Yep. Let me read the box to you.
Yes, this is why they don't do it. They look at customer support as an expense, as opposed to the cost of keeping a customer. Because honestly, if you have great service, even if this laser you have eventually dies, you're going to go back to them, right? And if their service is good. Yeah, the proper manual comment. The Genmitsu Wi-Fi connector that I looked at a couple weeks ago, it has the smallest print I've ever seen in a little fold. Like, they packed like a 50-page manual in this little fold-out thing that fit in the box. and I took a picture of a page with my phone and zoomed in on the photo just to see that there were actually letters there. They were still too small to read. So fortunately, I found the same manual online as a PDF file, so I could zoom in on it. But yes, it's like if you're going to do that, don't bother putting any manual in there because it's about that useful. Where's that Rick guy tonight, man? He's like a slacker.
Did you see his email?
Oh, did he send email?
To me. Basically, he said he's
Is he gonna show up?
Yeah, he said he was going to be late, but
he's already late. So mission accomplished. He did say he was going to be an hour late, right? So he should be there soon.
This, well, he said base bass, but I bet he meant baseball.
Yes.
Damn autocorrect.
Where would you? Yeah, nowhere. These things are completely undocumented.
Yeah, just good luck there.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a service manual for pretty much any laser.
Yeah, unless you're good with Marlin, you're not going to be adding functions.
Well, lasers don't use Marlin. They're not that advanced, but does 3D print? I thought 3D printers were all moving now to what is it? The fast thing now. Jeez, I've had a brain fart. Marlin's kind of passe now, even in the 3D printer world, right?
I know I've heard of guys taking lasers and then just changing the firmware and everything into a Marlin format. I can't think of what the faster mode is either with the new boards, because I have one behind me with it. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I got too much stuff in my brain most of the time. Clipper, there it is.
Yeah, Clipper with a
There are
cap.
smarter people on the channel than I.
Yep.
Rick claims to be home in a few. Yes, I have a couple of Clipper lasers or 3D printers. I'm bringing this comment back up because the whole thought of smelling dead cow in a neighborhood, urban dead cow. Yikes.
Yeah, camera.
Yep. Standard old
scanner. If you want to draw a picture of something on a piece of paper and scan it, save it as a JPEG, throw it into like Inkscape, convert it to an SVG, and take off with it.
There. Someone with the name Glitterfart is incensed by the smell of dead cow.
Now,
well, if you have a ranch, you can just run a really long extension cord for your laser and put it out in a field somewhere, and you don't have to smell it. No, I have about at least 3 years ago, probably 4 years ago, I bought just a little square of leather. And I still have that square of leather with one little hole in it, shaped like a keychain.
Oh, another dad joke.
Same user too, same viewer. We know what he does in his spare time. He chases his children around, tells them bad jokes. Yeah, there you go. A shed that will solve the problems. My workshop is in a detached. I have a detached garage as well as the garage in my house, and that's where I have to be. I'm not allowed to do anything with a laser anywhere near the house, or head office gets on my case. Tripod?
Yeah, tripod or gimbal. If you want to put a cell phone on a gimbal, you can practically run with it and it won't shake.
Yeah. There is nothing good enough for leather. It's just say no. Yeah, when you cut leather on a laser, these two things smell exactly the same. There you go. He's moving to the shed. Moving. We got to get off the leather. Who has questions? Yes, that's definitely not a good one. Trying to think. This week has been so chaotic for me. I can't even remember what I did other than a couple hundred watch bands. Yeah. 3D printers aren't too bad. If you live in a place where you get winter, they'll heat your house. Lasers in a house are probably, even if you vent them outside, I can, every once in a while, I'll do something in my workshop and I'll still smell burning wood or something as I'm cutting a laser. Interesting. Rain-X for ceramic cuts.
I haven't had any spalling, and I've done a lot of them.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Unless you got some really, really cheap tile, they've got a bad glaze on it.
Yeah, Sam, I've used Great Carve scratch acrylic. I actually did a video, I don't know, it's probably a couple months ago now. If you look in my video list, you'll see it. I've been meaning to do another one. Actually, I wanted to do one on, they also have scratch leather. And I've been meaning to do kind of a follow-up, just maybe a short or something. But yeah, I like their scratch acrylic.
I've got a whole package of it they sent me, and I still haven't opened it. I just haven't had time. They sent it the wrong time of year. They need to do that stuff in the winter when I'm not so busy.
Yeah, that's always the problem this time of year. Gutter fart is cheap. He's moving a shed, but it's his neighbor's shed.
Free wood down to his neighbor's yard.
If it's your neighbor's shed, leave it on his property and use his power.
Well, I guess if tile is spalling when you're engraving it, turn the power down, or speed it up, or do both.
Yeah, go faster or use less power. Where's that Rick guy?
And Daniel got his laser going.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
The S1?
Yeah. But
yeah, he managed to do something the last time he was on with us. And that was the last I'd heard about it. I was going to actually send him a message and see if he was up and running yet.
Yeah, he had that Elegoo for a while.
Yeah, he didn't seem all that impressed with it.
Yeah, then he got the S1. And,
yeah, he seemed to like it. I
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Just see if you can find the chemical composition for EVA foam, and if you see a C or an F in there, it's probably not safe. Or a CL, not a C. Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, it's my son's last baseball, so he's done.
Short season, like a 3-game season.
He's only 4. So
Oh,
it really was just a bunch of kids running around in a gym. How's everything going? Any interesting topics?
no, according to Cindy, we're boring, so we
Oh,
need you.
man.
We need you here.
We got to liven it up a bit.
Yeah, that's why you have to show up now.
Hey, so funny story, non-laser related. I told you I was going to write that song for my wife.
Yes, I listened to it.
You did listen to it?
I did.
It got 1.1 million views on TikTok.
Jeez.
And I got offered the album deal. So the joke was, they're like, "Don't you review lasers? Why? You write songs?" So yeah.
Did anybody say sure it was an AI that wrote it or something?
Yeah. So people asked me when I posted the video, my phone died like 45 minutes later because I had thousands of notifications. Literally just killed my phone. So everyone assumed that the video was created by AI, that text was created by AI, and they even thought the voice was AI because certain points has kind of a synth sound to it, but it wasn't. So just funny though.
So now you're gonna go off and become a music star, and
I don't know if I'm
forget who we are.
but maybe I can do some ghostwriting. But Snoop Dogg did say what he had 100 million views and he made $100,000. So I'm not very. I don't think I'm going to quit my day job.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe I'll make enough to buy some blanks for the laser.
I thought the U.S. was going to shut TikTok down anyway.
Supposedly, So the thing with TikTok is that they're promoting long-term content.
Yeah.
So if you post a video that's like over 2.5 minutes long, they really promote you. Like if you look at that 1.1 million, 73% of it was TikTok recommending my video.
So they're looking, because I thought TikTok used to be like a minute long or something.
58 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to do long-term content. So if you post long-term content, they'll promote you up higher. And especially it was like Mother's Day theme. It did really well.
We'll just post a laser video up there and it'll be 15 minutes long.
Hey, Rick, does a tour have a laser show?
Where's that other question? I wanted to answer that. Here we go.
Yeah, I've got an answer for it too. Go ahead.
Good.
Well, I haven't decided yet what my answer is, but I want to answer.
Well, mine would be my longer Ray 5. And the reason behind that is because I have expanded the work area to 850 millimeter square. So I can do just about anything on it. But that is not the laser I use on a day-to-day basis. It's just for large projects. If I only could have one, it would be that one.
Yeah, I think if I had to keep a single laser, I would keep my 90 watt CO2, just because it's more versatile and it'll cut 2 by 3 feet.
I think if I had to keep one laser, I'd keep this side 60 watt JTP mobile laser. But I would say that honestly, the laser that I use every single day is the Tesla D35. Like that's my workhorse, right? But I would say the Tesla is not making as much money as this guy, right? I can make way more money with this with a fiber laser than a diode laser, but just from the woodworking perspective, I tend to use the diode lasers for engravings and inlays.
Yeah, you're not gonna cut a whole lot of wood on a fiber laser.
Right.
Or paper, for example.
Yeah, so I just mailed out a bunch of those IBW coins today. So that's going good.
You selling those, or are you donating them to the brothers?
So the brothers are paying me for them, but I sent to the union, the head of our union in Illinois, a coin, and I'm hoping that they approve it. And if you pay your dues 1 year in advance, you'll get a coin. Or when you finish journeyman school, you'll get a coin. So most of the time, you go to a union meeting, you sit down in a union meeting, you slap the coin down on the bar. The guy or girl to your left or right don't have one; they got to buy you a beer. It's kind of like bragging rights.
So, what is it with Sculpt Fun S30s lately? I've had a couple of people say, "Hey, I got a Sculpt Fun laser and it's not cutting anymore." I don't know what the deal is. Like at 15, I assume this is millimeters a second or something. Or well, if it's 15 a minute, it should definitely be cutting. 100% power, it should be cutting.
Yeah,
As long as you're not trying to cut diamonds or something. As long as it's plywood, you should be easy.
yeah, it should go right through that at that setting. No problem. 1/4 inch
Luan.
So the other thing is like, right, what are those lenses called that are actually in each one of the lasers? Inside.
Well, they don't normally go bad though. Like
I
there's
had-
there's the shield, like the one on the outside is just a cover, right?
I've had one fall out, the little tiny ones. Because they're
The one on the end though, right? That's not a
no,
lens.
no,
That's
on the inside.
Oh,
The inside.
okay, that's a different problem.
Yeah, I was like, I heard something like, I could hear it, and I was shaking it, and it finally fell out. And I'm assuming now it had 4 lenses instead of 5.
and then there were
It worked better after that. And I was like, screw it, whatever.
maybe that's the case here. I don't know. If you
Yeah.
take it off the laser and shake it a bit to see if it makes noise, it shouldn't rattle.
Yeah. Make sure the lenses are clean, right? And with some alcohol.
Yeah, but the lens in like dust, dirt won't get inside the laser, right?
Right,
Like,
but if you touched it and got greased, it could definitely.
yeah, check the
end laser.
quartz, the piece of quartz on the
Yep.
end of where the laser output is, and make sure it's clean and doesn't have like a pit or something in it.
And the other thing is, if you have more than one laser, make sure in Lightburn you selected the right laser, because sometimes it'll work. It just won't work right. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's
it sounds stupid, but I've done it. I turn around, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, oh, drop down, change it.
Yeah, I did that today actually. Like, how come my S1 is not cutting properly? Oh wait, my Lightburn has selected a recreate vision.
I'm on inches, not millimeters. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't have that problem, but
Well, at 15 inches per minute, 100% power, that that should still cut it.
They say one laser means no laser. And you'll be like us. Hi, my name is B, and I have an addiction. Start showing
One laser, first laser.
yeah. I have numerous lasers. I only ever used really the WeCreate and the S1 though, for the most part.
So I think the WeCreate seems pretty cool. I think I don't personally have one, but just from looking at your guys' videos, I think it's probably one of the easier, or seems to be one of the easier starter lasers, right? But
Yeah.
I think, you guys having experience just puts you kind of above and beyond just.
Well, the WeCreate really doesn't need experience. That's the nice
Right,
thing.
no, but I'm saying the fact that you have experience kind of just gives you a leg up. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think it was by the way it looks, or what I've seen, it looks like it was designed for someone who may not have.
Yeah, I mean, without argument, it has the highest precision camera on a diode laser. Period. Like it's within less than a millimeter of accuracy. So when you see something on the screen, like when you see your workspace shot from the WeCreate camera and you put something on there, it's going to come out exactly where you see it in that photo.
But it does have a small footprint, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
It's pretty small laser.
it's a small cutting area.
Yeah, it's but so is the P2, right? It's like the X2 P2 is reasonably small footprint too, but for most people, that's really all you need anyway.
What they always say, go big or go home, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
too.
and the S1, it's about The S1 is probably a bit bigger than the We Create, a bit longer.
Personally, I have 2 extension kits. I have an extension kit for the Iker K1 Pro, and I have the extension kit for the Tezzer V35. I haven't put in either. The reason I haven't is because the enclosure. Like,
Oh, the Acmer P2, it's actually a 30 watt. That 33 is a marketing height. But yeah, that's a good laser. I have one.
Yeah. I would say if you're looking to buy one, wait a month and see what the P3 looks like. And because it's available, actually. The P3 is going to be available. Let me see if I can get the gossip for you here.
yeah, I was supposed to have a 70 watt showing up at my door. I don't know what happened. We'll see.
I have a Creality Falcon 2 Pro 60 watt. I finally did take it out of the box. It's been sitting on my floor for a while.
So I've been doing some, I guess, refreshing on my channel. So going through my channel and redoing my titles, redoing my descriptions, and doing all that. I haven't put out any content other than shorts, so I'm probably gonna drop like 5 or 6 videos short, like back to back to back to back to back. So pretty cool.
Well, I can't find what I was looking for. I had all the specs for the P3 here somewhere.
So
And
you guys, anyone have any questions? Let us know. That's what we're here for. We don't mind BSing with you for sure. It's cool hanging out. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. If you guys have any questions, let us know. That's what we're here to do. Let you know. Oh, and I know everybody liked those blanks that I was kind of going through and showing. That manufacturer said they're going to send me another big giant box, all kinds of cool stuff. So
yeah, I've been meaning to reach out to him, and
I got about half of everything he has, and supposedly this next box coming is supposed to be the rest of everything. Everything I've seen of his, there was nothing that was like, everything was like,
it looks like good stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
not the like
it's not
the,
Amazon.
the cheap coins. Yeah, I got another pile of those from Xtool the other day.
Yeah,
they were also in my box of stuff.
Yeah, the Amazon specials, man. Like, so on a coin, I normally do about 256 passes. And on a gold coin or a brass coin, that's cool. But on a silver coin, or it'll cut right through. Like, there's the density on that metal is just totally different animal.
Oh, here it is. So the Acmer P3 comes in.
So I thought We Create announced bomb drops, new head announced along with 40 watt. I liked We Create, but I wished it would work at existing users on 40 watts instead of saying buy a second laser. I agree with that. They should make it upgradable, or at least give you some kind of discount if you can prove that you own a laser. I think that would
they track them all, right? Like they know all the serial numbers,
right?
Because they knew mine was too old to do anything with. Mine was a prototype.
Laser?
My We Create Vision, my 20 watt is a prototype.
Oh wow! Get me off the window. I'm blushing. What the?
Anyway, the
Silver Fox is doing it again, making people blush.
I had all of the configurations for the. Oh, here we are. It's available as a dual laser, so IR and diode. It's available as a 2 watt IR laser, a 24 watt laser, or a 48 watt laser. And I believe the dual is the 2 watt IR and the 24/48 watt laser.
What's the cost on that?
No idea. Not yet. No pricing. This thing hasn't even been announced yet, just so you know. But they did tell me I could tell everybody on the live stream.
Nice. You can spill the beans.
It's a scoop. It's a scoop only for this live stream.
Nice one. There you go. Exclusive.
Yeah, it's a Shop Talk exclusive.
Nice one. You know what's crazy is that we are getting a decent amount of attention, so that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's getting. It looks like it's going to be out, released. I think at the end of June.
Any word from Daniel?
No, he's AWOL. He got his S1 working though, according to Conrad.
Yeah, he
I
just
saw a
released
video.
his, he just released his product video the other day.
Oh,
I
did he?
saw his video. He used our favorite term. Are you a woodworker if you use a laser?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a good question. I mean, people feel free to comment here, because I heard this again. So I did a thing for a wood turners guild here about why you want a laser if you're a wood turner, and we got talking about lasers and CNCs, and somebody asked if a CNC was really good for anything but signs, and and then I held up the bowls I made, and I said, well, I made these on a CNC, and I only made them because I wanted wood turners to see things that looked like they were turned, right? So they had to be round. And I think that garnered a few oohs and ahs from the wood turners, but I said, and I was talking to one of the guys offline, and I said, the beauty is, because of course they say, well, in a wood turning, if you're wood turning, you can turn this in 20 minutes. Yes, but I don't have to make one that's round. I can make an oval one if I want.
Right.
And a really good wood turner can do that, but that's not without its hazards, right? It's a hard thing to do. So, whereas it's trivial on a CNC.
I was just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I make lots of signs too, but I make lots of signs with a laser, and that doesn't mean it's only good for signs. It just means that's what I focus on.
The reason I started saying that, the whole, you're not a woodworker if you use a laser, is because I post a laser video on woodworking, and originally before I had laser, I was doing woodworking, right? I wanted a laser to take my woodworking to the next level. That was the reason I wanted a laser, not to do acrylic or anything else. It was for wood. So I was posting the videos on woodworking Facebook pages, and I was just getting roasted, literally like roasted. And then I take that same video and post it on the laser, and they were like, "What are your settings? How'd you do that?" Blah 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 blah. So that's how I met Daniel from woodworking. Yeah.
Well, and, if you think about it, if in general, if you're looking at woodworking, you table saw, you got a miter saw, you've got at least 3 routers, you've got hand sanders. There's a whole list of tools and equipment that you have to do various tasks. And can you use a miter saw instead of a table saw? For some things, yes. But some tools are better for some actions than others.
Yeah.
You can certainly do a lot of the things you do on a laser with a scroll saw, but a laser will do it better.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to engrave, I know people who do wood burning type engraving.
Yep.
You can do that.
Well, look, I even have that stamp that I showed. I have a laser, but it's a different look, right? What we're saying with this guy. This, it's a different look. Can I do that with a laser? 100%, but it's going to look different.
The right laser, you could do that.
Right, but I'm just saying it has a unique look to it. It has like a burn, like a.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, the thing with woodworking is it's an art form, right? And
exactly.
If you give, and yes, if you give, Picasso a 3-inch wide paintbrush for painting houses, he can still paint a masterpiece. But if you give somebody who's not an artist like me, the right tools, I won't be an artist. I'll be better, but I won't be an artist, right? And that's, I think, where we're headed. Is a laser just makes you better. Like, it's not going to make you creative, right? That's just not, that's not the thing. But it will make your idea easier to come out. And after that, the art, whether you're an artist or not, really depends on you, right? I'm not that lucky, so.
So this was made
Not
with a
everyone is
CNC.
a master of every tool.
You see the tool marks in it? You can see that was made with a CNC.
Yeah. I was going to
But I
say it's
definitely
backwards,
make
but it's a
this-
stamp or something, right?
Yeah,
Is it a
but I-
stamp or did you just mess up?
No, it's a stamper, but this is just a metal blank, right?
Yeah.
But it's made from a CNC. But now that I have a MOPA, I couldn't make this with a MOPA, you know.
Yeah, it's probably actually easier with a MOPA laser.
Yeah. Well, I
Because you
would
don't
say
have
it's
to
easier
figure
because
out tool paths and
you can
whatnot.
walk away from it easier, right? CNC, I think on this, I want to watch it, break your bid, make sure.
Well, actually, I would walk away from a CNC before I walk away from a laser. CNCs hardly ever burn things down.
Right, but you break. Well, when you're doing metal, I'm saying you break a bit, then you want to stop, right? So
Well, sure, but if you don't stop, nothing bad's going to happen, right? It's just going to run a tool path and not actually do anything.
right.
Whereas a laser, you know, once it catches fire, it's just going to keep making the fire longer on a
Right,
longer
but that's
path.
that's the advantage of engraving metal. You're not going to catch fire, so you can.
Generally not.
You're not supposed to, but you could. You know, I sit over here at my desk over there, so I have 3 monitors and all that. I'll be sitting over there and got these 2 lasers running. You know,
Yeah.
they're running
So
in the same room, but
So Just Me says laser and CNCs complement each other in woodworking. Yes, and that's the thing. Think of them as tools, just like a saw, right, or anything else, a drill. And you know, I don't know. People seem to get wound up in the culture of woodworking and say, oh well, a laser is not a woodworking tool because you know it's technology. Sure. Right. At some point, somebody was totally astounded by a table saw, right? The first one that they ever saw.
right.
And no doubt somebody said, well, that's not a tool either. I like the old handsaw, right? Like, let's just give me that.
I have a question.
Planer, so long as you've got a hand planer.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
We had mentioned a while back ago that if there was anything that you guys wanted to see us make, anything that you guys were having trouble doing, that we'd be able to maybe do it on the live, one of us. So if there's anything like that, like I know Roger and Steve has some fancy, or actually Conrad as well. I'm the only one with a single camera hooked up at this time, you know, but they could definitely, if we were laser engraving something or doing something, dedicated camera added to our live feed, just mute the audio and be able to see it, and, you know, see it in live, real time. So if there's anything that anyone would like to see us do something like that, let us know. We can definitely do something.
Yeah, I've actually made my life a little more problematic in that front because now my camera, everything is mounted here about 200 feet away from my workshop. But
okay,
in my workshop, I can use my phone anyway. I can go into Daniel mode and
take a plank of wood outside and get a magnifying glass.
Well, I've got this thing I haven't tried out yet. It's a HDMI transmitter, wireless. So it'll transmit HDMI from one of my cameras to, well, like my switcher here.
okay.
So I could have a remote camera, but like I said, this has been sitting on my table here for probably a month. I haven't even opened it yet. I know what it's supposed to do. Just haven't got to it.
If you want to be a true OG Picasso, then go old school and remove electricity from the equation, and you'll see what an artist.
Yeah, that's the Royal Underhill model. If you ever watch PBS, right? When I was a kid, I used to watch PBS, and they had the Woodwright shop, Roy Underhill, who basically he didn't have electricity in his shop, right? Like it's just, and then right after that they had Norm Abrams, the new Yankee workshop, and he had every power tool known to man, and it's like totally opposite ends of the spectrum. Like
Right.
This guy is taking a log and he's honing it into a board, right, by hand.
I gotta grab my chart.
Uses the beaver to cut down a tree.
Yeah, well, that's the that's the question I ask when people go, well, a CNC is only good for signs or something, right? It's not really a tool for woodworking. And that's the question I ask. Like, do you hand saw all of your lumber, or and of course they go, no, I use a power saw or like a table saw. Well, that's all a laser is, right? Is a really fancy table saw.
But let's be honest, though. Let's be honest and be transparent, okay? like most people when they buy CNCs, that's a big selling point in science, right? I'm not saying it's the only thing, but it is a big selling point.
Yeah, but it's like that's the same thing as saying, well, coasters are a big draw for lasers, right? For diode lasers. Everybody's
I
going to
know,
make
but
lasers.
I'm just saying, if you want to stereotype something, right, why you would say it, that's
It's
all I'm saying. And I
yeah,
think that
making signs is an obvious first step.
yes,
But like what I use my CNC for, like Conrad was showing a cutting board he made. So the cutting board I showed you, Conrad, before we went live, the juice groove and the outline, all of that stuff, I put it on my CNC, right? Just because, hey, it's accurate. I know if things are going to be square when I take it off of there.
I certainly blew up the side of my juice groove.
Yeah, so my mother-in-law, she got a real nice cutting board. I'm not talking smack, because actually, the guy actually did do a really good job. But I told her, hey, if she was ordering this custom cutting board, she should ask for, a juice group. And he said he couldn't do it, and he just did a round over. So he was obviously just, gluing it up and round it over on a router. And she says, well, why do you think that's hard? I said, it's because if you're making that juice group by hand with a router, you can do it if you've got skills or a jig set up, but you got a better chance of blowing out, right, than versus a CNC.
Yeah,
you got it out in. It's really, you took out that concern. I mean, I guess it could happen randomly on a piece of wood, but you have a less chance with a CNC, right? Well, there's a difference if you're. Oops,
sorry.
There's a difference if you're making product to sell in bulk versus custom pieces. Use your right tool for the job. Work smarter, not harder. 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
but I
so
do give credit. I'm not going to take any credit away for the old school. I want to plane it, or you want to be in it. That's cool, man. But you can't knock someone who's also using modern technology. It's like saying,
Yeah, but this is the ethical question. Like, are you a manufacturer or are you a craftsperson? Right? Do you sell millions of something or do you sell one of something?
Right. And there's things that I make that take way too long to be considered profitable. But dude, I enjoy it, man.
Oh, I do that every day. Like,
it's like I feel happy. I'm like, I think I'm more excited than the person who's buying it from. Like, hey, check this out. I'm so excited. What do you think? Blah blah blah. I make a lot of memorial stuff. So I like pour my heart and soul into that, man. I do it like with my own family member. I feel like you're doing someone passed away, and man, I want to give honor to that person the best that I can. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to be able to find a flaw. And at the end of the day, sometimes I dry out a piece of wood and it takes me 3 weeks, because I want to make sure it doesn't twist and bind on them after they take it. It's sitting in the house and I have 45-pound weights on it, and I'm flipping it, and I'm watching the dry content, and I'm letting it dry. But the good thing is, people who are buying it from me, they understand, hey, like you just said, I'm not a high production shop that's going to bang out 100 of these this week.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to do 1 or 2 a month. That's just the way it is. No one complains.
Yeah, like I did this past week, I did a bunch of watch bands, just engraving logos on them. And it pays the rent, right? Like, it's good money, but it's like, oh, there's got to be more to life than watching 10 watch bands get engraved at the same time, right? Like, it's so, and it's sad because, and I think it's just because, like, I spent my whole career being an engineer, and when I think that's what makes me not want to make volume, right? Because that's what I did for my whole career. Now I just want to make one of something and make it the best one of those ever. And, it's maybe I'm trying to be more of an artist, even though I know I'm never going to be an artist like some people. Guaranteed you, there are people on this channel who have much more artistic abilities than I have. But I like that, right? I like being able to make one thing and then put it on my workbench and go, man, I really did a good job on that. Or here's what I would like to fix, right? And that's, I think that's what drives me. I don't want to be a volume because I spent 35 years doing volume.
So question to the audience, what is your opinion on that? Are you more of a high production, I want to bang out 100 of these, or are you more of a full custom and you want to be able to charge more? And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to that. There's people who do high quantity, things, and it's just really what you want to do. What what is your thought process on making something? Are you high volume or are you low volume and be able to charge more? We're answering your questions. I got questions for you guys in the live. So what do you guys think? Post that in the comments.
Yeah, here I'll since you weren't here earlier, Rick, I'll show you this last cutting board I made. And
Nice.
this was all, I mean, I did a lot of glue up, but the rest of it was CNC work.
Nice. So you used what we talked about yesterday. Oh man, that's badass.
I don't know how to make this like big, but yeah. So it was a lot of math to get the juice groove in the right place, and round overs everywhere, all right. This was a math problem to me, right? But when I looked at it when it was done, it was like, wow, this thing looks really nice. And I almost kept this one, but it got acquired pretty quickly. So, but that's the thing, right? It's like I can't make 100 of these ever. Like I can't. I don't. Like this took me like 2 weeks to make, right? Not in 2 weeks solid, but over a 2 week span, because you're waiting for a lot of glue to dry and stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like doing now. I don't like doing the huge, 300 watch bands or 200 watch bands.
Yeah.
But like if somebody comes along and says, hey, I really want something like that, or they want it specifically with cutting boards. They want it because they know they're going to have the only one of those, right?
Right.
So whereas things like coasters and keychains and stuff, yeah, you can chip away and you can make decent money, but you got to work really hard because you have to make a lot of them.
Right.
But I don't get the same satisfaction out of that. And it's just me. I'm not judging people, because there are people who love making volume, right?
Absolutely.
But,
at the end of the day, you got to do whatever it takes to pay the bills, right?
But anyway, that's what a CNC is good for, right? That's not a sign. And I could do that with other tools in my shop if I wanted to, but it would be a lot harder.
Roger, what are you printing?
I am printing mounts and risers for longer Ray 5 lasers.
Nice.
I've got a ton of orders for them, and can't hardly keep up.
So you heard that, guys. Roger's really slow. So if you guys need any extensions for your lasers, send him a message. He'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Send him a message.
And he'll get you one by the end of the year, right?
Now, we got 3 printers running behind me now, and then 6 in the other room. So,
but seriously, guys, if you guys did need some extensions, I would really hope that you'd support our channel. So definitely do hit Roger up. Don't buy from a competitor. Keep it in the family. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know what inspires people to make the things they make, actually. I know what inspires me, right? It's usually I can spend sometimes a lot of time making something just to go, wow, that looks really nice. I'm happy with it. But it's different for everybody, right? I know there are definitely people who make lots of volume and they love that sort of thing.
So we do both here. I do some custom work, but we do a lot of high volume stuff. It's just,
and that's my exact point. There's nothing wrong with that. Just what do you prefer? I'm still considered new in the laser community, but I would like to be profitable. But right now, it's more of a hobby than a business. As long as I don't lose money, I'm okay at the moment.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with getting your name known, and maybe even if you're breaking even or just a little more than that, and then you kind of slowly work up your prices, or you slowly grow a clientele. Every customer will bring you customers. Just remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, you can go to Etsy and sell stuff if you want. I have an Etsy store, but I don't pay that much attention to it. Mostly designs up there. But I don't advertise, right? And like most of the stuff on Etsy is just an announcement that I'm here. But I don't advertise to say, hey, come and I'll make you a custom board like no one else has. It just kind of happens a lot of times, and it's not like I'm busy most of the time, but I could easily be busier if I wanted to make volume. But that takes away from the art, I guess. As much as I have art, I'm not an artist, but
the only thing I don't like about Etsy is the fact that you have to pay to be on a level playing field. That I don't like. And the only reason you know, we had Matt on our lives not too long ago. He's very successful, home business, 6 figures, high 6 figures, home-based business. You know, was in his basement, now in his garage. You know, from 1 laser to 4 CO2 lasers, now 2 MOPA lasers. Full time, that's what he does. You know, lives really comfortably. You know, and he's Etsy, but he's spending $1,000 a week in advertising. You know, plus.
Yeah. Plus, how hard does he have to work, right? Like how long are his days?
Yeah, who knows? It's probably pumping 12-hour days because I'll see him on live, you know, during the day and then jump back on 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I think Just Me's comment here is the right one, right? Like when you're first starting out, you're figuring out who you are, like from a production perspective, and you're trying to find who your customers are. And as long as you're, you know, even if you're not necessarily breaking even, if you're, you know, because sometimes you're going to do things and you're going to lose money, and you know you're going to lose money just to kind of get your name out there. But it's you got to start, and eventually someone will come along and say, hey, I want you to make me, you know, some crazy engraving. And you go, yeah, I can actually make one of those. So here's a ridiculously high price. And they go, okay, here's the money, right? Let's get going. It's all about recognition, right? And you know, they say you need to spend 10,000 hours on something to become an expert. It's probably not that high actually with lasers.
You can think about it as paid training, right? Because someone paid you to get trained on that skill set, right? And every time you do something the first time, it's going to take you way longer than it should, you know. But then after the second and the third time, you're going to get better and better and better, and you're going to refine your process. It's going to look better, you know. It was funny, like Daniel was even talking about how he was trying to basically do this on a table saw, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I have that bit.
Yeah, the old luck joint.
The router bit, you know. So is that, you know, but again, just I was like, this is gonna put my skill sets to another level. When I'm putting my things together, and I thought I want this, and I bought it, and I've been using it. So
well, what it does is eliminate the mundane, right? Yeah, you could sit there with a hand chisel and you could chisel one of those things out. It wouldn't be as good as that one can do, and it will take you about 1,000 times longer if you're doing it by hand.
Rip, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, the full-time job thing is something you got to struggle with, and you know, this is the right approach, right? You just let people come to you. You're not. I mean, you have a full-time job, so it's not like you need to work for the money in your workshop. And, you know, who knows, sooner or later, someone says, you know, you get enough people saying they want something from you, and you say, okay, I don't have time for my full-time job anymore. I got to do something else. But yeah, as long as you have a full-time job, you have something to fall back on, and you use a bit of free time for sure to get going, but it's the right way to start.
Be passionate about your work and help you.
Yep. Oh, did I?
Let me see what this one said.
Sorry, I eliminated one here. Hang on.
I used to deliver mail to a butcher shop, and now that I'm retired, he's letting me sell my engraving boards and
Perfect.
not wanting. Yeah, see, exactly.
Yep.
Every customer will become a customer. Very cool.
Well, that's even better because he doesn't want to take a cut, right? Now, you know, I mean, obviously, you should be, since he's a butcher, you should be buying meat there, but
yeah. Drop off new boards, pick up new steaks.
but yeah, that's how you get started, right? It's all about connections, and like if you want to start by being Amazon, you're going to be disappointed.
Oh, Amazon's don't start there. We sell on Amazon. It's complicated.
Yeah, no, I don't mean sell on Amazon. I mean be Amazon, right? If you want to do, you don't start with, like, you don't immediately say, okay, I'm going to make a business and I'm going to go hire 30,000 employees,
right.
And magic will happen, right? Magic doesn't happen. So
look even Matt. Matt said, you know, he's a high production shop. You know, he tried Amazon. He made so many sales, he got off. he couldn't keep up with it. He's like, dude, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. That's no way.
I set an inventory on Amazon, and when it's sold out, nobody can buy anymore until I post more. That's the way I keep from getting into that rabbit hole. Same thing with Etsy. You know, if I'll put 100 or something up on Etsy, when they're all gone, if I don't have any more, it'll stay that way until I have more.
Limited stock.
Right. You know what's cool too is I see a lot of people selling on Walmart website. You go to Walmart.com and you see these things on there. Hell, most of these laser manufacturers are on there now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not at Walmart. They're just paying to be on Walmart's website. So, and it's not a really hard process to get approved.
Yeah, they reached out to me actually and said, "Hey, you can sell on Walmart." And my immediate thought was like, I don't. It's like not the right place for.
That's not my brand.
Like
No,
if
they
you're
want you
selling
to sell
volume, right?
shirts.
If you want to sell 100,000 coasters or 1 million keychains a year, Walmart's online store is the place to be. But if you want to sell, 10 cutting boards and 3 chess boards or whatever, it's not the place to be, right? It's it's just not the right customers go there for one thing, and the volume is the expectation of volume is different.
Yeah, no. So my whole deal with that was shirts. You know, I made shirts, but to me, in order to be on a Walmart or Amazon, I need like a printer that could keep up. You know, I need a $50,000 setup. Plus. So it just wasn't right for me. I do still buy from him. I told him that's why he doesn't want any of the proceeds. He just still gets the money I make by buying his meat. That's cool. Give and take, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
Yeah, and I mean it's a perfect match too, right? Because if you're selling a cutting board, what better place than a butcher shop, right?
Absolutely.
Because people, it's like the candy at the convenience store on the counter, right? It's an impulse buy. Sure, I'll buy a $50 or $100 cutting board, and it's just because I happen to be here buying a pound of hamburger.
I would just make sure on Christmas and things like that, you make him something for his family. So where's everyone joining us from tonight? I see a lot of our regulars. Litterfart, B.
Litterfart went to eat steak or something. He said.
Yeah, B. I see a lot of our regulars. You see a couple new names I don't recognize. But where's everyone joining us from?
Yeah. This is one thing that we don't seem to have too conveniently accessible anymore as butchers. Lots of grocery stores, but they're not quite the same for sure.
Speaking of Walmart, that's the problem, right?
We have a local butcher shop here. It's called Meatheads. And, well, they've got some excellent stuff down there. And I do a lot of meat smoking and so on in the summertime. And if you want a prime brisket, that's the place to go. It's going to cost you $100, but it's going to be excellent.
Roger, have you heard of the Worst Kitchen?
What?
The Worst Kitchen.
No.
They're in Aurora, Illinois. They're a butcher shop. They've been here probably since the 50s. It's an old butcher shop.
No, I've heard of that one.
It doesn't sound like the right place to go for anything.
I know. Yes, he does it.
Unless it's German.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah, so they sell sausage then.
Yeah. As long as it's worse with a U.
Yeah. That's what it's called. Yep.
Yeah, I've got 3-4 butcher shops not far from here. I go to 2 of them on a regular basis. And still, if you're looking for, hamburger or, the common things, you're still better off at Sam's Club getting that kind of stuff. But if you want, something prime or something special, yeah, you got to go to the butcher shop. You pay for it, but you'll get it.
Hey, but that's a prime example, though, that if you're doing business with someone, an established business, and you can have an item that would align with their business, it's not a bad idea to approach them. And you don't always necessarily have to offer money. Just ask the question, because look, look at that company right there. They right off the bat said, hey, yeah, you can sell it. And I've done that in the past. I actually went not with laser stuff, but with shirts. I walked into a Mexican store, a Mexican restaurant that has a little store, and said, "Hey, can I sell my shirts in here?" A guy stood up and said, "How much do you want for that?" I said, $25. He said, "I'll take it." And he took it. The girl sitting down next to me, she says, "Do you have any more?" I said, "Yeah, in my truck." She says, "Do you have 2X?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "I'll take one." Right. Then he stood up and he goes, hold on. These are my customers. The next one has to come from me. So it was like as if I set it up, but I don't know. I have no idea who those people were, you know. And I started selling my shirts in there. And then I started selling my shirts in a barber shop. And, you know, I walked into a liquor store and there's this gangster looking Mexican. He's walking out the liquor store. And he has one of my shirts down. And I rolled my window down. I looked at him and I kind of smiled. And he was very upset with me that I was like mean mugging him. And I said, "Hey, man, that's my shirt." "What are you talking about? That ain't your shirt." And I said, "I made that shirt." "No, you didn't." I said, "There's only 3 people in this area who sell my shirts. Like, it says Urban whatever in the back, you know." And he's like, oh yeah, it does. Yeah, I made that. I own that company." "Oh, that's so cool, man. I have like 3 of your shirts," you know. But again, aligned with companies that are already established, that already have that footprint, you know, that people walking in there, you know, and you're gonna, you know, they're already trusting those people. So by them carrying the products, you know, that just kind of helps you out as well. That's a very good idea. You talk about keychains.
Trust by association.
Yeah, you talk about you brought up keychains. People make a million of these keychains, right? A detail shop, a car wash,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whatever, you know. Now people make these. What are those
one of the best places for keychains is real estate agents and lawyers, real estate lawyers.
Yeah.
Because anybody who says, "Here's the keys," they want to put their name on it, right? Yeah.
When I bought my Cadillac, they gave me a little key, a little leather thing, and it had like a steel in the center. It said Cadillac up there, whatever. That was somebody laser engraved that. You know what I mean? Somebody laser engraved that. I saw those blanks on Amazon.
Yeah, probably somebody who works for Chrysler or Cadillac, but
someone did it. You know, it was nicely done. Someone did it. You know, you buying $100,000 car from them, giving you a free keychain is nothing. You know, but again, their name's on it. You know, just a good idea, way to get business and grow with an established business. Sure.
Yeah, I can see why the slogan was a problem.
I didn't read it out loud. It's for people could read it on their own.
Yes. If you can't read, that's okay.
So you guys got any upcoming laser projects, anything?
Many.
What do you got?
I showed. You see, you got to get here on time, right? I showed you this diorama thing a while ago, right?
Yes.
Where's my camera? Right there. Well, I redid it today.
Okay.
And this is actually matte board for photo, like things you put pictures in.
Okay.
And somebody asked me if you could laser cut this, and I said, "Gee, I don't know. Let's find out." So.
Cool.
This, by the way, was one of the very first laser jobs I ever did when I got a laser. So I've had this kicking around for years. So I pulled out the file. I actually was digging through my old files, and I found it the other day, and I redid it today. So I have a video coming up on this, how to do this.
I've been wanting forever, and you know it's not something new. We've been doing it forever, and I'll probably reach out to Roger for help. But on a Montport K40, I've been wanting to do those acrylic LED lit signs.
Mm-hmm.
I just had so many things, you know. I just want to try it. I want to make it. I bought a bunch of on Amazon. I was trying to buy the acrylic and the base together, and somehow, like going through it, I ended up just buying the bases. So now I'm just going to buy the acrylic.
You're not looking. You're like for edge-lit signs. You mean?
What's it again?
For edge-lit signs? Like
yes.
The basis?
Yeah.
You're not buying those little round ones, are you?
Yes.
Okay, they're pretty terrible, actually.
You know, for the small as I'm going to make that sign, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're good for night lights.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you're making things, think night lights, because that's what they're perfect
Yes.
for.
No, I agree.
Wow.
I agree. Yeah, no, if it's sitting on a counter during the day, a
Yeah.
bright day, you may not be seeing it.
Like I've done LED edge lit signs that you can see in direct sunlight.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the video you did with the
Yeah,
LED.
you commented on the 2 multicolor one.
Yeah, the RGB.
That one you can see in sunlight. It's bright.
Yeah, very cool.
And it doesn't actually cost a whole lot more than those little bases do. Now it doesn't have a remote or anything, but it just has like ultra high density LED, a row of LEDs, right? And like they're stacked in there pretty tight.
Well, it's probably got the 50/50s instead of the 20/20s like a lot of people use.
Well, I forget what they were.
And see, guys,
It's the highest density ones you can get.
We do watch each other's videos as well. I still get people ask me all the time, how the heck do I know you guys? And when I wasn't, a couple people were saying that they're joining the live, they didn't see me and they dropped off because they didn't think it was my live anymore. And I'm like, no, man, that's the whole idea of us having co-hosts, you guys, other than an obvious of a second or third or fourth opinion, and knowledge of all of us together is a lot, but we all have lives outside of YouTube, right? And at the end of the day, it's not our full-time gig. So patience, if family things come up, we can back each other up.
Yeah, I think it's good for people to understand that it's YouTube isn't always a competition, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, we get together. I talk to Clack Shack and Vintori, and I've had conversations with Matt, and it's just like we all know each other, right? And know each other, but it's not like, oh, you made a video on that, now I'm not going to talk to you anymore because I was going to make that video. We just don't do that, right? So
Yeah, for the most part, it's a good community. I mean, I'm pretty good friends with Rich, the Louisiana hobby guy, where, of course, I've never met him in person, but we chat back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a decent guy. I made him mad there at one point, but he I was on I hung out on his live stream one night just for fun. He's a cool guy. But yeah, it's a small community, right? And hopefully people see that we don't, it's not like there's a battle going on in the back rooms of YouTube, right?
I mean, and let's be honest, like Daniel joined our live and like the next day got laser gigs, you know what I mean? And laser, he never even touched the laser. One live and laser manufacturer just throwing shit at him, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not saying this has his own following, but I'm just saying, like,
Wojo made a comment about you being late tonight because you missed all of his best dad jokes were tonight.
Oh, for sure. Man. It's funny when you say the dad jokes because
you'll have to go back and watch the first hour.
It's funny because I was general foreman in the union. If people know what general foreman is, the highest position you can be in the union. So a lot of guys under me, and some of the guys under me, they're my son, right? So I would say a joke, and some of the guys would laugh, and the younger guys would go, dad joke. And I would tell my wife the joke, like, "Do you think it was that bad?" She's like, "Yeah, it was a dad joke. It was a dad joke." Like, okay, I thought it was funny. But yeah, I'll go back in live and I'll check the dad joke. I'll check the dad joke.
Yeah, the first couple were pretty funny actually.
No one ever said anything about the project. You guys want to see anything? So
what's that?
Anything? Go ahead.
What was that?
I was just gonna say, if you can't think of anything, or later on after live you think about it, shoot one of us a message, or you can still come back to these videos in the comments.
Yeah, we still read all the comments.
That's cool.
Or save it till next week, and then we can ask again. We can ask a new question.
But I like too that people are kind of starting to communicate like why they got into lasers, the idea of how they're trying to sell, or different approaches. And couple ideas, but the different businesses to ally with.
Yeah, I've done a few business focused videos, like laser business or well, workshop business, and people seem to like those things as well. I've been thinking of doing another one, but
So
it's a time thing. It's just like YouTube takes a lot of time. Anyone who thinks YouTube is easy, I got news for you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to be dropping a video. It's going to be about advertising after COVID, and it's going to be a message to manufacturers as well as businesses, as well as influencers. And the reason behind that is I just think things have changed, right? And if you don't adapt with times, you're going to be left behind. Guys who advertise in yellow book pages for years, for decades, it worked. It did. It was 100% work.
Does it still work?
No, that's the point. That's the point in time. There's
when the phone company gives me my annual yellow pages, it usually doesn't make it into my house. I come through my garage from outside and I throw it in the recycle bin. It's
right.
like
Straight to the trash.
Why would you give me this? Like, where am I going to put this?
So years ago, I used to own a detail shop and a body shop. I paid for yellow book pages. I had a quarter page. You know how much money that is? And then later on, I was in the regular list. So that's just even these trade shows. All these manufacturers are putting all these dumping all this money into trade shows. I actually, I won't say the name, but I had a manufacturer reach out to me and say, hey, our largest distributor is this person in the United States. We want you to do a joint venture with them. Send an email to this person and whatever. And that person told me, like, hey, man, the manufacturer gives us so much money for trade shows, for media. And if we give you that for free, that's coming out of our budget. And we plan to spend that money on, traveling. And I was like, hey, man, I'm not contacting you, just asking you for money. Like, I'm telling you, the manufacturer told me to reach out to you. So I actually replied to email and put them both on the same email chain. And I was like, I'm not stepping on anyone's toes. If you guys want my help, I'm willing to help. But, if not, it is what it is. So maybe we'll talk next year. The budget's small. But just trade shows, I just don't see that they draw the attention. I think I told you that before.
No matter how much they spend at a trade show, it's a limited audience, right?
Right.
And that's the beauty of YouTube or TikTok, right? You can reach millions of people from everywhere on the planet. Like, I mean, I don't know about you guys on your channels, but I got people all over the world. Yeah. And it's kind of cool to talk to them because they've had a different perspective depending on where they are on the planet, right? And it's, it's good for me for sure because I get to meet a lot of different people. But from, what amounts to a manufacturer as the cost of their product, and it's factory cost, it's not retail cost, they get visibility across the planet, and that's way better than any trade show.
Look at that, Joe.
Why are lasers always right? Because they make a great point.
Oh, there was a question here about Lightburn. Hang on. Okay. I wasn't sure if this meant the release status. Lightburn 1.6 is available now. I'm surprised if you're running Lightburn, it hasn't told you already to update.
Yeah,
I would say don't, because I've had problems. I had problems today when all my squares and rectangles turned into triangles for no reason at all.
I was about to pay too, because mine expired for 1 year or whatever. Maybe I'll wait. I was just about to pay the upgrade.
Yeah, mine's not expired. But I had to go back to 1.5 because 1.6 wasn't working properly with the X-Tool S1 at least. I'll find out. I'll try it again next week when I fire up the Falcon 2 Pro 60 watt and see if it creates squares or triangles again. Yeah, it was bizarre. It looked really weird.
You're welcome, Al. Yeah, look at, I forget his name, the one guy who always joined us from Australia. He's watching our live at like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, he's from my channel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2:30.
We talk quite often, actually, because I wake up early in the morning, so it's still daylight for him.
Right. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I do see a lot of London, So outside of Canada and the United States, I would say London's a big people watch.
Yeah, I have a lot of UK viewers.
I have quite a few from Austria, of all places.
So I don't get the whole Mexico thing because I don't speak Spanish on my channel. And,
You don't speak Spanish?
yeah. You know what? So my stepfather raised me Sicilian Italian, first generation, fresh off the boat. And so I grew up, I moved away from Chicago and kind of, you know, lived in Jersey. And, you know, my brothers are Rocco, Frankie, and Anthony. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. So when I came back to Chicago, you know, I kind of was back into my culture, so to speak. So my wife is French Canadian. So my daughter said to me, "You don't understand how it is to be picked on because you don't speak Spanish." I said, "What?" When I lived in Jersey, I got picked on because I didn't speak Italian. When I came back to Chicago, I got picked on because I didn't speak Spanish. You know, they used to call me coconut. They said I was brown on the outside, white on the inside. You know, but yeah, you know what? I think we're all just kind of becoming mutts.
But another time you'll have to tell us how you managed to find a French Canadian wife.
Yeah, yeah, they're crazy. I'm a sucker for a blonde hair, blue eyed babe. What can I say? But yeah, so I went to third grade in Canada, second and third grade. I lived in Kirkland Lake.
Yes, you mentioned Kirkland Lake. It is the worst place in the country. It's an old mining town, right? An asbestos mine was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And basically everything around it is toxic now from asbestos. But
yeah, crazy. I remember when I was a kid, they put me on a snowmobile and they said, going across the lake. If you hear it cracking, just push the gas. Don't stop.
just keep going.
I'm a little kid. That thing is so huge. You think they'd wait for me? Hell no. These guys are just gone, you know. I remember like crying because I was trying to keep up with them. And they was like freezing to my face. And I was just so scared. I weighed nothing. You know, that thing's 85 miles an hour. You know?
Yeah. Well, at least up there you'll get snow that you can run a snowmobile on. Where I live, nobody has a snowmobile. They all have four-wheelers because we don't get enough snow to run a snowmobile usually.
They said Alan Thicke is from Kirkland Lake. I'm not sure
Yes,
who that is.
he was.
Who's Alan Thicke?
Alan Thicke,
Actor.
he was an actor. Had a talk show for a while.
Oh, okay.
His son is a singer.
Yeah, but crazy times.
Oh, why do I have a feeling this is another dad joke?
The blue laser
speaking of lasers hurting, I do have to confess that I had an injury this past week. I actually did I have this last week? Yeah. I was doing these watch bands, and you know they're not mine. They're like somebody sends me a box full of watch bands, so I don't really have any spares. And I see something really bad unfolding in my laser, so I thought, oh, I'll just reach in there and fix it. Well, of course, along the front of the gantry is the invisible but highly powerful 90-watt beam, and I reached over to straighten the thing out, which I successfully did. So I saved the watch bands, but I felt like this, this bullet going through my arm.
Oh.
It was like a second. I could actually see the gap in the engraving where my arm was. It was about 1 millimeter long.
Oh.
So yes, important safety tip, kids: don't stick your arm in a running laser, even if it's going to save you, $50 worth of material.
How much is your arm worth?
Yeah, well, less than those watch bands probably. It actually, I mean, it looks bad, but it really just knocked like the top layer of skin off and cauterized it instantly. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty painful. Fortunately, it wasn't the focused beam; it was just the fat beam coming off the tube.
Yeah, no kidding. That could have probably done some serious damage.
Yeah, if it was focused, it would have punched a pretty big hole through my arm, like deep into my arm. This is really just surface. A couple layers of skin disappeared.
Be honest. Did you shed a few tears? Did you shed a few tears?
What's that?
Did you shed a few tears?
No tears. Lots of expletives. My shop was echoing with foul language. It's like, However, it did inspire me to redesign my laser. This is the one I built myself, to put a
Nice.
shield across the front, run the beam in a piece of channel so that I can't do this anymore.
Nice.
So who knows? Next version of the laser will be improved for stupid people to not burn their
2.0.
arms.
That's quality engineering, man.
Yes, it's an evolutionary step towards a better laser.
Hey guys, it looks like we reached our time. It's 8:30.
So now you're actually going to show up on time next week?
Actually, I was going to tell you guys I can't even attend next week, but after that, I'm good to go.
You're
I
unreliable, man.
I don't want to say the company I work for. I can't say it, but I will say that I do build things, right? And at night, because I'm a lineman, I'm considered a competent person. I have to go to these township hearing meetings because people don't want to build certain things in their towns. So I go there as a competent person to speak on questions for the people in the town. So I have a court next one.
You're the guy who answers the question, why is this being built in my backyard?
Yes. Basically.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
You want to be in somebody's backyard? Why not yours?
So I live in a village of maybe 1,000 people, and they decided they were going to put a sidewalk through the middle of town for some reason. And there were a lot of torches and pitchforks when they had the town meeting because people were like, why the hell are you going to spend millions of dollars to put a sidewalk in the middle of a town that no one walks in?
Yeah,
those are the people you have to talk to.
One of the last court dates was kind of funny. This guy, he has probably $2 million home. He says, I don't understand why you want to build this. You're going to depreciate the value of my house. Just let me have it, right? And I said, let me be honest with you. When I was younger, when I walked into a room, when I walked out of a room, if I left that light on, my mom yelled, hey, turn the light off. I says, there was one TV in the house. Everyone, the whole family watched TV together. I says, nowadays, everyone has their own TVs. Nobody watches TV together. You got 4 TVs in the basement. And
everybody's got their own TV in their hand, right?
Every light in the whole house is on. And you have these lights on the outside of your house, all fancy. I said, at the end of the day, we have an infrastructure that's from the 50s, and you're using 7 times to 10 times more power than anyone's ever done. So, either we go back to the way we used to, or we modernize our grid. There's really no choice. And he started laughing and goes, fair enough. That was it.
Yeah, telecommunications is the same, right? Yeah. I mean, I have when I grew up, we lived so far out in the wilderness, we had a party line. Like, you shared it with 4 other houses, right? For at least for a year or so when we moved. And now I've got OM4 fiber running all over my house, right? And 2 fiber lines running into my house. It's like, how did we get here, right? It just went crazy. So
yeah, we have that out there. They keep building, thousands of homes in the neighborhoods around here. And nobody wants the D-cell plant in their backyard, but everybody wants to water their lawn.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't it rain every day in Florida anyway?
Oh, we wish.
I don't know.
And no.
I just seem to remember.
Outside to a hurricane is that at least it rains for a week.
We get hurricanes too, so we get them about a week after you do.
Yeah. We take most of the life out of them by then.
I won't be able to join next week at all. But my son's done with baseball, so going forward after that, I'm good to go, and I'll be on time with you guys.
So next week you just don't want to be with us. That's what you're saying.
I'd rather be with you guys than sit in a court case dressed in my Sunday best.
Watching paint dry while somebody tries to make a legal innovation of some sort, revelation.
Exactly. But,
all right, guys.
So thank you everyone for joining us. I appreciate it. Thank you to my fellow co-hosts who were able to step up to the plate and help me when I was doing the family first thing with my son's baseball. And guys, do keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind if there's anything you want to cover, let us know.
I was about to thank Wojo for the dad jokes, but he wasn't finished.
That's a good one. Okay, everybody, we'll see you next week.
Thanks all.
Later, guys.
Take it easy.